Let me start this episode of Beethoven 250 in 52 Posts with a question for you, my friends. How many of you have succeeded in meeting their idol? And if you did, please let me know in the comments how you achieved that. Because even for a man as Beethoven, it was very difficult to arrange a meeting with his idol, Johann Wolgang von Goethe. He tried in 1810, he even wrote 3 songs especially for him, but didn't succeed until 2 years later. As we will see in this episode, episode 33 of Beethoven 250 in 52 Posts, part 2 of Beethoven and Goethe. Last week we learned that Beethoven spent the summer of 1812 in Teplitz, a spa town in the Czech Republic that had been completely rebuilt after it had burnt down in 1793. It had become a luxurious town with beautiful hotels, expensive boutiques and even modern street lighting. And it attracted an equally posh audience. It even had its own gossip tabloid, for it was the place to be for the high society in summers. Not exactly an atmosphere where you would expect Beethoven, would you? And not exactly a wellness treatment I would prefer. Because they had to drink horrible bitter water there, and the acoustics in the baths were very bad, especially for Beethoven's ears. And not only his ears, also his feelings must have been hurt, for there was horrible music played all day long, all around the town. Contrary to Beethoven, Goethe really enjoyed the social activities of Teplitz, for he could walk around as a true celebrity and be gazed at by all the tourists. If they would have had smartphones, I'm sure everybody would have made selfies with Goethe, which he would really enjoy. And perhaps Beethoven would have done the same when he finally met his great idol on the 19th of July 1812. But there is this saying, never meet your idols, in which some truth lies, I guess, because I don't think it really clicked between Beethoven and Goethe. Which is clear from their reports of the meeting. As Goethe writes, Beethoven has a very untamed personality. Not completely wrong in criticizing the world all the time, but his attitude hardly makes it more pleasant for himself or others. And Beethoven says about Goethe, he is too delighted by the atmosphere of the court, more than a poet should. But there's a legendary anecdote that describes their differences in character, value, manners and age really best. One day Goethe and Beethoven were walking in the park and they saw the Empress and her following approaching. And Goethe immediately took off his hat, he stepped aside and made a deep bow for the Empress. But Beethoven stood in the middle of the road, put his hat a bit more firmer on the head and made the Empress and her following go aside for the great Ludwig van Beethoven.
You shall not pass!
So if you'd ask me, were it possible, would you want to meet your idol Beethoven? I wouldn't really know the answer, because perhaps it is better not to meet your idols. Perhaps it is better to keep telling the stories about your idols, which this series, Beethoven 250 in 52 Posts, is of course all about. And if you are enjoying it as much as I do in producing it, please support it by donating to it. You can now do so via the link below with a tikkie, which makes it extra easy and which makes it extra helpful for me to keep producing a weekly video about our idol, Beethoven. Thanks in advance, highly appreciated, and see you next week.